This past weekend, we saw Seattle surge a 100-point club London Royal Ravens. Here are 3 takeaways from map 1. Point number 3 was how good Seattle Surge's teamwork was. In this clip right here, I'm going to show you how good their teamwork was with an example. So, starting off this P2 hardpoint, the initial setup was Lamar accuracies watching the right door, the right arches, essentially the choke point where majority of the enemies were going to come from. So because he's the main man here that's going to get majority of the damage, his team set up around him. Pred is playing the kind of back alley area. He's going to basically watch the back road if Sib dies, or he's going to help out Mac if needed. So he's essentially a free roamer right now, just basically helping his teammate. And now if you look at the minimap, number 1, which is Sib, he's sitting in the desk head glitch, but instead of watching his kind of arches area, he's watching over accuracy because he's the main man in the hill here, and he's making sure accuracy doesn't get killed from the right hand side, and if need be, he's got Pred on demand to get those trades. Number 3, Mac, he's essentially free roaming on the left hand side, just giving the comms and letting the team know where the enemies are coming from, and he's going to be responsible for watching Sib's back. Look how the arrows change as soon as Mac loses his gunfight. As soon as Mac dies, Sib backs off at the desk, turns around and gets his arches. As Asim wasn't expecting 2 players to be watching those arches, because in fact they weren't. Sib was watching the back alley, but as soon as he got that call, he turned around. But what I find most interesting is not just Sib and Mac's teamwork, but the fact that Pred got the call as well. And as soon as Sib turned around, Pred backs off and watches the back alley. Basically nothing changed. They literally covered each other's back to perfection and allowed them to get the 3-piece. Mac dies, Sib turns around, gets a trade, so Pred pushes the back alley and gets what Sib was watching, basically leaving accuracy in the exact same position. Excellent use of teamwork there. In this next clip, London have got the hardpoint, they got full control, and there's only 2 Seattle members ready to break the hill. Look how well they play this and the teamwork on display here with Mac and Sib. As they approach the corner, Mac goes on the floor and Sib goes for the jump shot. This makes it incredibly hard for Paulix to win the gunfights. Instead of even getting one, he gets taken down, and just like that, with an excellent break, Seattle managed to push in, Pred and accuracy on the pinch, and they managed to break the hill within 10 seconds. It was just a very efficient way of breaking the hill, and it showed excellent teamwork by Seattle Surge. Point number 2 is how confident Pred looked with this new meta. With the M4 this week, SMG players now have a lot more freedom around the map, and in this first map, Pred was back to his best. His aggressive playstyle makes him one of the most fascinating players to watch in the whole league. What really stood out to me in this map 1 was every single vital gunfight that Pred was in, he managed to win, and this essentially flipped the output of the map. Every 50-50 heal, he managed to break the deadlock, get those first bloods, and just allow much more freedom for his team to roll in. Whenever Seattle are going to break a hill, Pred is the first man in. He's always getting those numbers, getting those initial kills, and sometimes the double kills, just making it such a hard team to play against when he's on this form. But what I found the most interesting is when Seattle do have the hardpoint, how far Pred pushes out, but he doesn't just waste his life and essentially leaves his team in a 3v4. He always makes plays, gets those kills, and just allows his team to have a lot more control over the hardpoint. This is the perfect example here. He goes for the flank, he times it to perfection and gets a 2-piece, and then once again pushes out, making it almost impossible to play against this team when he's on this kind of form. And point number 1 is, what is accuracy's role? In this map 1, we saw what happened when Pred is let loose and allowed to roam around the map. Sib and Pred are 2 of the most explosive players in the league, and accuracy has the key to letting them loose. In this map, we saw a 100-point club coming at Seattle, but the most interesting stat to me was accuracy's scoreline. He had 3 minutes in the hill, which was more than the whole lobby combined. He also had only 1,200 damage and overall only 21 engagements. This was the lowest in the lobby by far. But what this more selfless type of play allowed was it allowed other players on the team to maneuver around the map without the fear of losing the hardpoint, and they had more freedom to focus on the slaying, which is exactly what we saw Pred do, absolutely destroying the whole lobby, having over more than double accuracy's engagements. He had the freedom to just roam around and do what he does best, absolutely slay, and this was all down to accuracy's involvement in the game. Every time Seattle had the hill, accuracy would play his life to perfection, allowing his team to get the kills, and when London had control, you would see accuracy going for the long route, trying to get those spawns and just help his team spawn closer to the objective. Once again, I think Seattle will be an absolute threat when they hit that final form, but for me, accuracy is the most important player, because if he gets his fundamentals right and he's playing on form, it just allows for the other players to go out and show off their talent that we know they have. Sib and Pred, when they're in form, this team is looking very scary. I hope you guys do enjoy the breakdown. If you do, make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.